filled with surprises and other stuff. It is just good to be inside. Welcome to the Budrush. Andrew
I love your
says,
shirt.
"Oh, thank you, Jackie Daytona. If anybody is a fan of what the hell is this show? What We Do in the Shadows? First of all, sorry. Welcome to the Budrush Bellow. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh. You are all my buds, as always, and I'm joined, as always, on the Budrush Bellow by Mr. Viz. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. I'm excited for this weekend. We get to play some more Flesh and Blood.
Oh yeah.
This week at locally we're gonna be switching to a new schedule. We're gonna throw draft back into the mix for our armory schedule, so I'm kind of excited, especially with next month with the Outsiders release. Release is coming up. I'm getting real hyped this week, man. It's gonna be a great March.
It really is. It really is. I'm excited. I am not as excited. I have a busy March. I'm
Yeah.
moving. I just scheduled the set review with Bill from the Spike Feeders.
Big news.
We're gonna eke it in there right before I move. Hopefully all the spoilers are done. I was told they'd be done by the 6th, so
Yeah, if they're not
hopefully they
done.
are. If they're not, whatever, we'll miss a few. maybe Runeblade cards aren't in this one, so. But Andrew, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. I'm sorry that I made you stand by, but you could sit by if you'd like. We got a good show for everyone tonight. We're gonna crack some packs as we always do. Do some Scabskin. Well,
At least one. Well, maybe not even one.
yeah, it depends on how the dice are rolling. We have some. Well, I think Gary has a Scabskin moment of the week, and then we're gonna talk about. Well, we're gonna gush over a certain card, and then we're gonna talk about PVE. I had like an idea about PVE that you might have seen on Twitter, and I think it's kind of cool. I think it's worth talking about anyway. And we're gonna talk about some spoilers and talk about traps, because traps, we didn't get to talk about them last week, and they are, they're changing. Let's just say they are changing. But before we get to all that, I want to shout out to the Patreon, which you can find in the show notes. It helps keep the lights on, the mics hot, and it's a good place to help support the show. By no means required, and it's very grateful for any little bit that anybody can give. And one of the bonuses that you get, among many, basically you can tell me whatever you want me to do and I'll do it, but also whatever packs we don't open on the show tonight, they get posted over there. Some bonus apps every once in a while when I'm feeling a little randy. And you get a membership card to the Romping Club, which is a member exclusive Discord channel in the Buds Discord server. The Buds Discord, however, is free for anyone to join, and I recommend anyone join it. It's a good time, great people in there. We talk a lot about Flesh and Blood, but we talk a lot about a lot of other things. Mostly people just dunking on me for my food takes, I guess, lately,
Yeah.
and liking the Yankees. But hey, listen, just be grateful that I don't ban people whenever I want, because I could,
I'm holding him back. I got his hand off the button.
Yeah, it's like but it's a great group, and hey, listen, and if you need to talk about anything, reach out. We got a lot of people that are have a wealth of experience in life and in the game, so pop in there, check it out. And then I also want to shout out to the OG podcast that I do, Fresh and Bud, starring me and a plethora of guests that I have on. We have a bunch of new faces that come in. We get to kind of learn about them from the community, and we also have a cast of reoccurring characters. And one of those characters is going to be on tomorrow, and that is Kale from Dead Summer Art, who is a lore aficionado and just knows so much about it and really understands the flavor and lore of Flesh and Blood. So I always like to have them on right before every set release, so we could kind of talk about what's going on in the region that we're visiting or in general. Hey, listen, it's a good time over there. So give it the old look-see. And also, if you're watching this, well, obviously you're watching this on YouTube, give this YouTube a subscribe, a little like, and a little comment. It helps. Once we get to 500 subscribers, we will be doing a Leviah cosplay. Me, Leviah, full adult Leviah, tentacles and all. And Gary will be the dead rabbit, which we have some great plans for. If you could believe it, we have something planned.
We're getting close. We're getting close. We're 220 away. So we better we better start planning now.
We are, yeah. Hey, listen, it's been growing. A couple. I get a couple subs every day, and it's nice. I'd like to grow it a little bit more because there are people out there beating us.
Your sub? Do you go turkey?
Depends on the day and where I'm getting it from. I also like to use the term hoagie, even though I know not a lot of people love that term. But
I love hoagie.
Yeah, hoagie's just like great. But anyway, so that's it. That's all the upkeep we got to do here. But, let's get to the real meat and potatoes of the Budrush Bell. And you know what that means. That means we're going to open some packs. Mr. Viz here is going to roll a die. Sorry. I know.
Die, if you will.
A die.
An unalive, if you will.
Unalive. Oh, my Lanta. For whatever reason, has shock charmers out there instead of gambler's gloves. But hey, listen, we're going to pretend it's gambler's gloves. So he's going to roll, and we'll find out.
Ooh.
Is that a 1?
It is a 1.
Well, you got to pop the gloves, dude.
We'll pop the shock charmers.
Pop the shock charmer.
Roll again.
Oh my god! Now I'm nervous.
Get the double. Yeah, it's gonna be a 6. Oh, a 3.
All right, one pack.
All right,
one pack. Let me switch over to the appropriate. Oh, look at this. We are in the throne room here, the Emperor's throne room, because on Friday I will be recording a UPF Buds Showdown with Az from Go Again Gaming, friend of the show. And I believe that'll be with Pat Shaw, now of the Action Point and No Rails TCG, formerly of the Combat Chain, and Capolo, medium fella, and there's Pat Shaw in the chat right now.
Nice.
Which pack are we opening? We're only opening one. Left, middle, right.
I say middle.
Let's go with the middle. Let's get that first ever
Very
Fabled.
Excited. We're going to get the Command and Conquer here today, right now.
Visit the Imperial Forge, blue. I'm gonna skip that visit. You know what I'm saying? Madcap Muscle. This is an endless maul in some things in Rhino, I guess. Runic Reaping, blue.
I want that card to be good.
2 block. Crankshaft. Yeah, we said that joke plenty of times on the show. Sap. What's this? A tree? Anyway. Annihilate the Armed. How about we annihilate the legs? I don't know. That's a bad joke. Sack the Shifty. Does that mean there's no?
I don't think so.
Oh, jeez.
We still could get a good hit though.
Pouncing Key. That's not a good hit. Blessing of Savagery. I like this card.
Oh yeah,
I do.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to tell me why because I don't get it.
And then Blessing of Steel. Blessing of Savagery. I like it because it doesn't matter if it's like it could be a weapon. So it works with Hexagore and Rock.
Okay.
Hexagore and Rock. Right. So, hey, listen, that was a really crap pack, but what can you do?
You're opening up.
I know. Well, we got 2 more that we'll open for the Patreon later, and that will be a ton of fun because I mean, if the Fable wasn't in that one, it's got to be the other two, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, how it works.
Scabskin moment of the week. I know you
Yeah.
have one. I'm trying to think if there was anything. I did play Rhinar at my last armory, or no, not my last armory because we. Oh wait, this is kind of a Scabskin moment of the week. I got to draft Monarch for the first
hell
time,
yeah.
and what do you think I drafted? Levia.
Bolton. Oh.
Bolton. It was crazy. I've never drafted Monarch, and it was so much fun. I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. I know it's kind of maybe not everyone's favorite, but I really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I think that Levi seemed really strong. However, there was 3 Levi drafters, so we all kind of suffered. I could have used like 3 more 6s, and I would have felt a lot better. But besides that, you know, it was fun. It was fun. Have you ever drafted Monarch?
No, I never drafted Monarch. I don't even think I played Monarch Field. I kind of missed the Monarch window. I know a lot of people were feeling kind of down on Monarch about when I was starting. There was that huge Monarchs going to the moon, and then Monarchs back on Earth. So I luckily I missed that, but our shops haven't really done any drafts. We've been mainly focusing on like WTR or Uprising or whatever. My Scabskin moment of the week is that I opened a Scabskin moment.
Whoa!
Yeah, I picked up a box of Welcome to Wraith, and I don't know. I forgot how good that set is. Like all of the cards in that set, like commons, wise, are just super useful. Like outside of just like, you know, like you open a pack and you see red Razor Reflex, red Pummel, red Scar for a Scar, and then your first rare is like Sigil of Solace and Snatch. Like,
I mean, that's a great pack.
like you open that set and you're just like, wow, all these cards are super good.
Yeah.
And like now I just have a pile of good commons and rares just sitting right next to me, and I got a Scabskin leathers. So yeah, I really think that Welcome to Wraith, they should just print that set forever. I don't know why they don't, but yeah, I also want to mention I did hang out with a bud this weekend.
Okay.
Dr. Unks.
Dr. Unks.
Yeah, Dr. Unks was in town, so I want to shout out Dr. Unks. Talk about the meal a little bit earlier because it wasn't my meal of the week since we're in a new week. But yeah, we went to Bonchon, you know, my favorite. Got some chicken and, you know, hung out. It was nice to hang out with buds in the real world.
Not the flesh and blood.
Not the in the flesh and blood. Yes, in the flesh and blood. Wow, how did I completely miss that? I joke over my head. But yeah, it was some great moments this week with some buds and some Scabskin. Having a good week.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Yazi's in chat, which I don't think he is, he would have been very disappointed in the flesh and blood joke. I know he's very vocal about that one not being said. But sorry, Yazi, we're saying it. You know,
I'm not.
No, it's awesome. Dr. Unks is well, you know, hey, listen. As far as doctors goes, he's one of my favorite. And you know, for a long time, I just thought he was drunks. And then he told me that it didn't matter whether I said drunks or Dr. Unks, but it feels a lot cooler to say Dr. Unks. Yeah. I don't know. You know, that's a lot of school you got to go to be a doctor.
A lot of work. He put a lot of work in for Unks, man.
When I worked at a country club, I had multiple members that I had to service. You know, I would clean their clubs and stuff like that. And this is all sounding really weird, out of context. I would service them. I would clean their clubs. You know, things got weird.
Finish the joke, Tom.
There's no joke. Unfortunately, there's no joke. But you know, we had a couple members who, you know, had their PhD, and they would correct you if you said, "Oh, Mr. So and so," it's Doctor. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, Doctor, Mr. So and so." But anyway, you know, hey, listen, they earned it. So that's all I got to say. But what did you guys do? You went to Bonchon?
Yeah, we just went to Bonchon. Just hung out for a little bit and met some friends of his that were in Magic. There was a lot of Magic players in Philly this weekend. Hung out at Dark Depths a bunch. And there was just a lot of people in it coming in, new faces. talked about Flesh and Blood a little bit with some of them, hanging out there, lurking over packs. But yeah, it was nice.
Awesome. That's awesome. I know they had their pro tour.
Yep.
And
Reed Duke.
Reed Duke, and I mean, I don't want to dwell too long on Magic because I'm not a fan of it anymore. But Reed Duke was always very funny to me because, he always had this like big old kind of like bowl cut, like it feels like something that I had as a child, and he always looks. What was that?
The middle part kind of bowl cut thing is back.
I know, it's huge.
All the kids have it.
I know.
He just waited it out. He just waited it out.
He's like, I'm just gonna, and yeah, thanks, Pat. Oh my god. But he was very funny to me because he's got that bowl cut middle part. And he's like super good at Magic, and then like also is like kind of like totally, dude, like kind of just like
a little bit, yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think he ever left the 90s. So, he's still hanging out there. So,
Watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and just never left.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, congrats to that. And I'm glad that people who still enjoy that game are getting a little bit of stuff going on. So, hey, what can you do? But hey, we are here in the flesh and blood, talking about the game and something that I tweeted. I think it was yesterday. I was thinking about PvE, right? So actually, to preface this whole conversation, there's been a lot of talk from members of the community, members that represent LGSs in the community about maybe Flesh and Blood doesn't really make sense in terms of financially for an LGS to hold it or whatever. There's not enough incentive. I can't really speak to it because I don't really run an LGS or anything like that. I think that I'm a bit of I'm a nut. If I had an LGS, I'd be like, I'm only selling Flesh and Blood. But that's why I'm here on a mic and not owning a store, because that would be a disaster. But there's probably some valid criticism. There's probably some criticism that maybe is a little bit emotionally charged. I'm not here to kind of say who's right and who's wrong, but one thing that is clear, and something that a lot of folks have kind of chimed in and said, well, there needs to be incentive to buy product and play in the stores for it to make sense for them, right? Makes total sense to me, right? Get people to buy the stuff the product at the LGS and not online, from a soulless corporation, right? Because that's also not what Flesh and Blood is, right? It's owned by like a small company. It makes sense. You want to kind of keep that. So a lot of people's like, buy box promos. Sure. That's a great start, right? I think that's awesome. But I was thinking, it was like, well, we have a pre-release coming, and this was actually, I tweeted before they announced the pre-release kits. The pre-release kits seem pretty cool. We were going to talk a little bit more about it, but we can talk about that closer to the thing, which is great. Pre-release kits make a lot of sense. Now, kind of going back to Magic, one of the best things that Magic used to do, I don't know if they do it anymore, they might still, but for their pre-release weekends, it was like Friday, sealed or draft, Saturday, sealed or draft, and then Sunday, two-headed giant, right? Now, Flesh and Blood is, I think, shout out to the Table Pit. They did a video not too long ago where they played some two-headed giant in Flesh and Blood. Obviously, there's some refinement that needs to happen there, and kind of basically, maybe a ban list or something like that. But that's neither here nor there. We don't have two-headed giant in Flesh and Blood, but we know that PvE is coming. Now, I think a lot of people expect PvE to be a constructed format. You show up to a PvE event with your deck, and you hang out with your friends, and you try to beat this thing, right? And I was thinking, it was like, well, that sounds awesome, obviously. I think we're all very excited for PvE, but what about sealed PvE on, like, the Sunday of pre-release weekend, right? You still get your sealed and draft fix in pre-release for the Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday, the low-key day, everybody, shows up at like noon or like 2 or 1. Doesn't matter which time.
I was thinking 3:30.
3:30. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I draw the line somewhere. But you show up. It's like a low key afternoon. You just show up at the LGS, and there's a pre-release PVE kit, and then I would assume, much like Magic has done, you can get a kit for a hero, and then you and two other folks, like for like outsiders. Let's say it was outsiders, right? You get a ranger kit, you get a ninja kit, and you get a assassin kit. You get 5 packs, and 1 pack is all ninja, all assassin, or all ranger. Right? Makes total sense. Then you can choose which ranger you want to do, and then
they did a lot of that with the guilds.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the guilds and the like the shards and stuff like that. Yeah. It was like the most fun thing about Magic, in my opinion. And I imagine that being so cool, right?
Yeah.
So you and two buddies, or you and people you're just meeting at the store, can sit down, play against the PVE thing with your little kits, and you got to kind of experience what it's like to play with you still get the sealed experience, but you're not playing against other people in a competitive environment. Does this make sense?
Yeah. One word that's jumping out to me as you're speaking is the word arch enemy. And the idea that, and if you're not familiar with the idea of what arch enemy, in Magic, there's this concept of you have basically a boss that one player plays with that's not necessarily like a deck of playable cards. So this would be kind of like if you were doing a PvE environment, the dungeon master playing some enemy, right? For the pre-release weekend, it would be cool if like you had somebody at the store that could be the arch enemy weekend, and you could schedule like games again.
Sure.
And that deck is standard, right? So that would be I think it would be cool to have that person be like, that's the kit that comes with your your pre-release kit. But then, like you said, I really like that in the standard arch enemy, there's like, okay, well, it's 3 decks that we've provided to you against 1 boss deck. But I really like the way where you're going with it, where it's like, okay, so you do a pre-release kit, but then all of you 3 work together, or you 2 work together to fight the boss. And you could even, if the store has it, and you have like a group of 4 friends you can take turns being the boss. You could take adventurers, that kind of thing. I actually really like this idea. I think I saw your tweet, but I didn't internalize it. And so, like, as you were speaking, I was like, "Oh yeah," I was rooting for you. Like in my head, I was like, how could this be a thing? How could I do this with my store? Like, what if I just, you know what I mean? Like, schedule this with some friends. Like, yeah, I really like this idea. I think that I think what Flesh and Blood really struggles with right now, we talked about this a few times, is that supplemental or that auxiliary product that's, not necessarily just for new players, because they have a lot of these, like the blitz decks, and you get commons pretty easily, but like that mid-range like player that's like wanting to just play the game a bit more, right? You could do sealed, you could do a sealed deck, and one-on-one do a sealed, that's fine. But like in a group of people, it would be really nice to have some team. I really like where your head's at with this. The two-headed giant idea I think is really cool. I think that Flesh and Blood has is so close to being the best, partner sealed environment possible, because you just basically are building two. I mean, you did teams, right? Like, you know how fun it can be to just like pull packs together and build like a structured, nice draft deck. Like that's a great thing. Now imagine you get to team up, try and fight a giant boss. I think that we like, it doesn't even need to be a pre-release weekend.
Yeah.
Because this kind of thing is like a perfect learn to play event as well. Because you could do like, if this kit, say that it costs the store owner $40, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, like, whatever the kit is. You could have different difficulty levels, like you could set up 2, 3, 4, you know what I mean? You could do intro. Like, this is basically like, you're playing a game against somebody, but rather than playing that person playing a deck, they're still like the person who's teaching. They can just play a pre-constructed deck that's meant to teach how things work. So
Sure.
maybe there's a little bit of arcane damage, and maybe there's a little bit of attack. Maybe there's a few defense reactions, a few attack reactions, instead of building a deck that's like just not going to function because it's meant to teach, because it's like got a whole pile of cards in there. The learn to play deck, I feel like, is a great way to like kind of give people that full flesh and blood experience with a little bit of a challenge. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're playing against a new player, sometimes you feel like you have to hold it back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
And so like you don't want to, like, I was playing against one of the managers at Dark Depths on yesterday, and we both played. I built some basically cracked sealed decks from. I built a Phi, I built a Dromai, and I built an Icelander. Basically every common everywhere. Basically the best draft deck you could ever build, but for those heroes. And I also forgot that the dragons were double sided, and I didn't leave the decks, so whatever. But we played Phi versus Dromai, and then I let the manager try the wizard because I didn't want to play the wizard against him.
Yeah.
But after we played a few games, he was like, "Oh, I want to try something else. I want to try something else." Once he played the wizard, he was like, "This is completely different than all the other things." And also, I love it. And I tried this on Felt Table, and I did not feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
It did not feel the same. Like it was just giving me a bunch of windows. It was making me like choose. Like I didn't know what I was doing, and like I really enjoyed this a lot more because while you were teaching me than when I was using the internet to learn. And I think that if there was a way to do that sort of arch enemy or that like learn to play kit that isn't just like the same deck back and forth, it would be a lot better for a new player to kind of learn how the game works and not just like feel like they have to fight. You know, fight at a level that of the opponent. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like the thing I'm thinking here is like the collaborative effort is so probably important for someone to kind of learn, because that's what you're doing when you're teaching someone to play and you're going back and forth. You're collabing with them.
Hands up, right? Play the hands face up, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Play your hand open, and we'll figure it out. But you know, it's just better when you guys are working together for a certain goal.
Right.
And I know that no mercy feel guilty. I mean, we've all been there, you know, kind of really like giving it to the new player, but you know, some people appreciate that, and some people it just turns them off. So it's kind of hard. You got to figure out what to do. But you know, I know what you're saying. Like they can extend beyond pre-release, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea. I think that's what PvE is going to end up being. It's something that's like really great for bringing new people in. I mean, hell, man, I think that I see it bringing a ton of people in, and then people be like, okay, now I want to like level up. I don't want to play story mode anymore. I want to go play multiplayer. Yeah. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. Turn the internet on.
yeah. But like,
get raided.
So, what are you raiding today? No. But my initial point was, you know, hey, listen, there is an issue with LGSs and how the game has been for them, and the certain kind of priorities that LSS might kind of have like a trouble kind of making that connection with the LGSs. It's not the same everywhere. Obviously, there's always going to be pockets where it's like killing it, and then pockets where, you know, it's tough to even get an armory fired. It is what it is. But this is something that I think would make, like, it's something to give to the store.
Yes.
That you're like, hey, this is really cool. It should get people in to play. And I know you're talking about like some like it. I think realistically for like a pre-release or whatever, it'd be really hard to get one person at the store to play as the arch enemy. I don't know how PvE is going to go. In my mind, it sounds like, or in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to be kind of plays out on its own. You know, like you have a set amount of rules, and like you with the other players kind of follow those rules, and kind of, who knows, it might not be that way, but it feels like a really great way to get people excited about pre-releases, because like right now, like pre-release weekend is cool only because you get to play the new cards, right?
Yeah.
You don't get to experience something like Two-Headed Giant in Magic, where It's something that doesn't fire normally, right? It's not
Right.
something that you can play all the time, unless you like have a group of friends that are willing to buy the sealed product. Um, I think we kind of LSS Flesh and Blood needs that kind of experience because not only does that get people excited for this pre-release, but it gets them excited for the next one, and so on and so forth. All of a sudden, you build that interest in the game. And I remember there were so many players at Magic that would say, "I don't play the game until Two-Headed Giant."
Yeah,
which is fine. I think that's better than someone not playing the game at all.
Oh yeah.
Right for LSS.
For sure.
So.
I mean, yeah, when I used to go to those midnight Magic releases, like I would see one guy that I knew that he would literally give all of his cards away at the end of the night because he only ever played on pre-release. He was just like, I'm just coming to hang out. I like to just play, you know what I mean? But I don't want to own the cards. Like I just want to be in the moment, you know?
Yeah, and
I think yeah. No, go ahead.
No, and I think there's going to be players like that in Flesh and Blood if we can kind of create that kind of experience around releases. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I really like. Yeah, I see what you're saying with the logistics of that extra person.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would love to see some sort of like like they talked about the pre-release stuff. They give you the heroes, that if you need extra heroes, they can get that. Maybe there's just like a PVE deck
Mm-hmm.
that you give out to people. That would be really cool. I think I just tend to bias myself because when I find myself when I play against a computer or like the like a solo, I don't really enjoy solo missions,
Sure.
and like board games. So my brain's like, oh yeah, I want to play against somebody being the archenemy. You know what I mean? But I think that you're right. Like just giving like a new player the experience of like you know walking into the store and they're saying, well, one, like you said, it gives people a reason to buy from the store because it's something that they can do in the store,
Mm-hmm.
right? But two, if you think about a new player walking in and the question, I mean, I don't know how often you just hang out at the store, but when I'm talking to new players about product and what getting into the game, what's the one question I always get asked is, what should I buy? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? What should I buy? Because like, and I alluded to it earlier with the whole auxiliary ancillary. That's the word, ancillary product. And I usually just say, well, the blitz decks are good, but like, let me open 6 packs with you. You know, like, and just here's your sealed deck. You know what I mean? You have a deck now. And then so like I think that something like a standing pre-release kit that's not necessarily a pre-release kit, but like an adventurer kit or something like that. That's like by class. It's Flesh and Blood builds has like the perfect infrastructure for that. Um, and you're right. Like it would just be something that the stores would have to accept this product and not just see it as a pre-release product.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that like just like a sealed kit, like you're talking about, whether it's built with PVE or whether it's built just as an individual kit, would be, I think, a great starter product. And like people would honestly, and players who already have thousands of cards would probably still buy these things
Yeah.
because they're packs, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you have a friend that you're trying to teach the game, you could just pick up, oh, which class is interesting, well, I'll grab it from the store before I come up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh,
That
yeah.
kind of thing. It's like I really like this idea. I think that I think what you're saying about the pre-release kit power of that experience is the way Magic does it. Honestly, is really wasted, and not wasted, but it's like they do a good job of secluding it to a celebration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's very valuable to the player experience. So like if Flesh and Blood could tap into that celebration and use it as a way to educate, I think it's fine, but not for like the store. Like it's a gold mine in a way that the stores have for product that they can sell, but it's a gold mine for players to get engaged with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what Flesh and Blood's already doing it, right? They're selling an experience, right? We don't have an online client that's
Yeah.
ours, but we are selling you an experience of playing a good card game in the Flesh and Blood. There it is again. But but why stop there? Like sell more experiences. This is a great experience, and it's something you can sell, and like that your LGSs could sell. And one thing that I wanted to mention that these pre-releases should probably have, the if you were doing PVE sealed pre-releases, that specific event should have its own promos, probably PVE themed promos, for people that want to continue to play PVE. Some more incentive for people to come out. Yeah. I think that's one thing that the game has always done pretty well, is like kind of give you kind of cool promos. So keep that going. So Carrion Husk.
Yeah.
That's our rant on PVE. But Gary wanted to talk a little bit about Carrion Husk, a little bit of a love letter, because I think he's becoming a believer.
Yeah. So I mean, my guy has always had that shadow frame. My purple man has always had that demonastery border, and I've always loved the darkness. Okay. But it wasn't until I was looking for a hero to play in Blitz that I fully realized how much I love the dark. I know how much you love Levia. I'm around it. Maybe I have the Stockholm syndrome of the shadow Stockholm syndrome from my surroundings. But I've been playing that chain list that one of the buds in the Romping Club posted, and we built that together in the chat, and it was it was kind of a joke at first, but I didn't have a Blitz deck to play, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna play this shit, why not? I have fallen in love with the concept of this deck, and I want to specifically shout out one card, and that's Carrion Husk, because not only does it give Chain 6 extra life in Blitz, which is so nuts. If you think about it's literally 30% of his life total, right? It's almost a third of his overall life total just sitting there on his chest piece. But it's also taught me a lot about the game. And I'm the first to admit it. I play an aggro hero. I often don't think about blocking. I just try and make the best line out of the 4 cards that I have.
Yeah.
And frankly, ever since I've been playing this more defensive deck, I've started to learn, and maybe it's because I was hanging out with Dimitri too much. Dimitri, if you don't know, he's a Bravo player in the Buds Discord. He's very good at blocking, and to basically talk to him about blocking, you could have him on the pod and talk about blocking for an hour and a half. But he's so good at the numbers and the value of if I block with this, then that's just negative value kind of things. And so as I've been learning about how to block better by playing more D-Reacts, by playing more cards that block for 3 rather than 2, like a true Runeblade player does, I've learned that having a resource that just sitting on the battlefield to let you pivot is so valuable. I know that a lot of people feel this way, I take the damage so I can have a pivot turn. Oftentimes with any shadow here, you don't have to take the damage because Carrion Husk. And I think that if there were more shadow heroes, Carrion Husk would probably be one of the most expensive cards in the game, because it's just such a powerful card. There's one hero that can play it in CC and it's over $100.
Yeah.
And the hero that can play it in CC is great.
It's so good. Oh my god.
So good.
She's
so
awesome.
Good.
Love her.
So awesome. Yeah, and the only drawback is that it kills you over time, which isn't actually that big of a deal when you kill them faster than the Husk kills you.
Sure.
So
doesn't happen in Levia, by the way.
It doesn't happen.
Well,
in Levia,
it can happen.
Yeah, it happens. But in Chain, basically what I've learned is that I want to stay above, in the deck that I'm playing, I want to stay above 13 life, and then the second I'm going to go below 13 life, throw that Husk, and then you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that has taught me to learn the different phases of the game better. It's taught me to manage my life total better. So I just want to say thank you, Carrion Husk, because it opened my eyes to the different value that different phases of the game serve. And it really helped me appreciate Flesh and Blood a lot.
For sure. I mean, I've been singing the praises of Husks for 2 years, dude. I mean,
I know.
this card's incredible. You know, it feels so good. Like, this is why I'm such a like simp. Like, I'm spoiled with Carrion Husk, right?
Yeah.
I play Rhinar. Like, I've been playing a lot more Rhinar lately, and Rhinar's great, but you know, I'm looking at that stupid Final Spring Tunic. I'm like, ugh. Like, I can't even like I know you're giving me like this nice little value, a couple of resources here and there, but man, like Husk feels so good, and I understand, and yeah, it is pretty crazy how cheap, you know, affordable. I won't say cheap.
Yeah.
Affordable it is right now.
Not financial advice. Just like thinking about the card.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know, it is a beautiful, wonderful card, and I mean, we're getting a new Shadow Runeblade this year.
I know.
So
honestly, like, I'm in sauce, man. Like, if we get a Viserai Shadow Runeblade, that would be nuts. That would be nuts, because not only would I be like already prepped with all my blood deck cards that I am definitely playing. I played 2 in their but I would have like a lot of experience with learning how to block. And so, like, I don't know. I feel like you know, if you're really good at one thing in Flesh and Blood, one thing you can really do to help yourself appreciate the different levels of complexity with the game is try something else, but like immerse yourself in it and say, learn like what that hero does and what the limitations are, because not only are you then better at learning what the hero can't do, because you're learning what the hero can't do, but you're also able to apply those skills across the different heroes that you're trying. It's kind of like multi-classing in like an RPG, or like if you play RuneScape, where you get your skills up to, you know, this skill's at 99, this skill's at that kind of thing. But yeah, like, you basically, I feel like, even as somebody who loves Runeblade and Viserai so much, I mean, playmat's behind me, right? Like, I really feel value in branching out, and I think that people should think about that when they're trying to, like, how can I get better at the game? I think diversifying your mindset, and this is all based off the Carrion Husk rant, because like I realized that I was kind of sheltered. You know what I mean? And like, oh, Bloodsheath Skeleton, the best chess piece ever. It's gone. You know what I mean? But then I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, well, you know, and I appreciate what you're saying about multi-classing here, because I, even the other day, you know what I started playing on Talishar a bit? Azalea.
Like, oh, wow.
Yeah, and you know what I did? The first game, it's like second turn, I accidentally put Eye of Ophidia right into my arsenal. So I was like, oh man, I'm not cut out for this. But I played some more games. It was a lot of fun. That card's really cool. I got to figure out how to play it, because I'm going to have to draft it in a month. But yeah, no, Husk is the real deal. I wouldn't hold my breath on Shadow Viserai, just because regular Viserai hasn't LL'd. I mean, sure, we got Starvo, but
Blitz.
Makes sense. Okay, I can understand that that argument, but I also know that there is a whole legendary that you can't play in CC right now, and that's probably an issue to LSS. So yeah, I'm sure it's probably a new chain.
There's a whole fable you can't play in Blitz. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, they you know, they keep beating that Blitz drum. So I could be completely wrong. So, all right, let's talk about. We got a spoiler. We got a couple spoilers. Traps. No, we're gonna talk Dishonor first.
Oh, Dishonor.
Also, I need to actually bring up the actual thing here, but we'll get this up in a hot second. Boom. There we go. It's up. Dishonor. So we got a new combo card. It's a Majestic. It says, if Bonds of Ancestry was the last attack this combat chain.
Oh, it's back. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's up. This has +2, and when this hit, it has 2 attack, 3 block. It's a blue and costs 0. When this hits a hero, if you control Surging Strike, Descendant Gustwave, and Bonds of Ancestry, that hero loses all abilities for the rest of the game. We know what Bonds of Ancestry does.
Yep.
It's this thing right here. If a card with Gustwave in the name was the last attack, this costs 2 less, so it becomes free. And has go again. When this attacks, you may banish a card with combo from your graveyard. If you do, search your deck for a card with the same name, banish it, then shuffle. You may play it. This combat chain. Yeah, I mean this is going to be an issue. Not an issue, but it it's something that's very highly telegraphed. This combo line. We don't know what Descendant Gustwave is right now, but it certainly could be just as good as these other cards.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's a blue that blocks for 3, right? That's all. That's all every hero wants. They want 100 that blocks for 3, and this one attacks for 4 sometimes.
Blue that blocks for 3, and also activates your Kodachis, and is something you could discard to Katsu's ability.
Yeah, to search up the Bonds of Ancestry.
Yep.
To then attack with the Bonds of Ancestry to search up your other Dishonor from your deck. Yeah, it's very self-contained, and I think that's something that Katsu's really been liking. Like,
yeah,
you needed 2 or 3 you needed 2 or 3 of the cards in your hand to be able to do something in addition to resources to pay for them, right? Yeah. And like the idea that the Bonds of Eternity lets you search up a combo piece. I don't know if Dishonor is going to be the only card in that Winds of Eternity line. If it isn't, that'll be insane.
Yeah.
Because like Katsu is going to have like 4 or 5 different branching paths when you see a Surging Strike. You know what I mean? So you're just gonna have to kind of assume that the next card is either going to be the Whelming Gustwave, which is a nasty card that on hit draw card that could go into the Lord of Wind combo line, or whatever this second combo line is. So if there's another branch for Bonds of Eternity, oh my gosh, Katsu's eating good. This is just, we've seen 2 cards.
It's pretty crazy how those 2 cards change a lot. We don't even know what this Descendant Gustwave is. But we have Whelming Gustwave. So something interesting about this card. So it says when it hits a hero, if you control a Surging Strike, Descendant Gustwave, and Bonds of Ancestry, it doesn't say if it comboed into it, right? So if you somehow don't have the Bonds of Ancestry last or whatever, and this hits, like if it's just coming in for 2 and it hits, you still get the effect, which is it's not for nothing.
It's flexible, right? It's not so rigid like a lot of the combo lines.
Yeah. So this card is, it'll be relatively easy to see it coming, I think.
Yeah.
But also, you're gonna have to take at least 5 damage, I would say. Maybe if 5 damage, if not more, maybe 5. But you really want to save your blocks for the Bonds and the Dishonor, right?
Does Bonds have to hit?
Bonds has to hit to get the banish when this. Oh no! When this attacks, no, it doesn't even matter.
Oh yeah.
So you just want to save your blocks for Dishonor. We have in this. Oh yeah, right. Breeze Rider Boots about to pop in price. That's interesting. So you got 5, right? Surging Strike's 5.
For 2.
5 ? 4. That is a lot.
Yeah, and keep in mind the last 2 parts in that chain do not cost a single resource.
So as long as the Gustwave costs 1 or less, you only need a blue. This is going to be something that, well, it really pushes Katsu really into the forefront here, and
except against that.
Except against that. Well, I mean, yeah, but like, it doesn't do anything against Dash, but it's still like a crazy combo line.
Oh,
like yeah. So like you're still outputting like some really great damage here. It's very scary. Love the art, by the way. The art's incredible.
I call this a leaky spooky card.
Leaky spooky.
Yeah, because it leaks damage and it's really spooky.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It feels pretty crazy, man. That this is what we're gonna see combo really pop off in Outsiders here.
I know. It's pronounced Vosserai is excited to see combo. Big. He's a big combo player.
This kind of combo, though.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It also confirms that we get Surging Strike reprint in Outsiders, which is a totally like great card and limited especially. So I don't know. I'm a little scared of all this. So
yeah. One last thing about this: Bonds of Ancestry is a rare.
Mm-hmm. This is a majestic.
So it's likely that you would play the red and blue. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
The blue bonds does not turn on Kodachi, so that is one drawback to the bonds. Does cost 2 unless you've played hard with Gustwave.
Yeah. Yeah, and and sure that's relevant for constructed, but we don't know what the weapons will be in limited.
Right.
Which will be interesting to see if they just do Kodachis again or if they give us something new, which would be fun.
Maybe the dagger, Benji's dagger.
Yeah.
Zephyr Needle.
Zephyr Needle. Yeah, that's a cool one.
I've seen an Ira play it as a second swing. The Ira attacks with Kodachi and then Zephyr Needle for 3.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't pop, right?
Yep.
Unless it's Sink Below or something like that. That's pretty cool. Now, Dishonor's cool, but we got to talk about something cooler.
I know.
Collapsing Trap.
The joy on his face. Everybody, if you're just listening, you got to see that he's dancing. He's a little fist bumping.
Oh my God. Collapsing Trap is Riptide's legendary specialization. Is a blue, cost 0, is a Ranger defense reaction trap. Blocks for 3. When this defends an attack with Go Again, the attacking hero discards their hand and then draws that many cards -1. Okay. So, first of all, one thing you got to notice about this card is it does not say it needs to be played from Arsenal. Now, they spoiled this card with a article about traps. James White basically said, hey, we need to figure out a way to make traps playable. And we found that the original traps being like that kind of, that whatever you'd call it, like rules text that it needs to be played out of the Arsenal just kind of was a huge hindrance. So they are errataing. Is it errataing? I don't know. That's tough to say. Doesn't matter.
They're E-rating.
Yeah, they're changing it to it does not have to be, right? Now the original 3 or 4 traps, I think it's 3, will still have to, but their text is getting changed to just a line of effect text or whatever, like rules text, not actual trap rules. So that means that you would assume all the traps in Outsiders are going to be able to be played from hand, which is huge. Now, Collapsing Trap is an insane card.
Oh yeah, we don't see the words discard your entire hand a lot in this game. There's 2, I think. Mind Warp and this card.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ability to just absolutely destroy an opponent's whole plan is just it's just terrifying. Oh, hey Caleb. How's it going?
Here. He's saying, "Let's go."
Yeah, it's just and it's a blue that blocks for 3.
Yeah, it's crazy. So this card's overpowered, right? But the balance here is it's legendary, right? So you can only have 1. And now this is something that I kind of really love about this, right? Because it is so important to know about this card if you're playing a go wide deck, right?
Yeah.
So if like there's a part of the game that isn't talked about a lot and that high level players know and practice is paying attention to your opponent's pitch, right? This is a blue. It's going to be pitched at some point, most likely, during a game, especially a longer game. We're assuming since Riptide is playing defensive traps, it's going to be a long 2-cycle game. So this does challenge your opponent to kind of pay attention to whether it's being pitched or not. if they've seen it yet in a pitch. So kind of keep that in mind when you plan out your huge turn. If you take a bunch of damage to go crazy. Uh, yeah, this card's like awesome, and the art's amazing, and I tweeted about it as well. It's like I love the idea of Riptide running around and just like rigging traps because he's like not like nimble or anything like that. He's just like a big old gross dude, and he's just like
gnarly.
He's just so gnarly. He's like a runt. But he's like out there just he rigged a whole bridge to explode. Yeah. That is that's just cool. I don't know, and I'm very excited to see what other kind of traps are. And I want to talk about some trap ideas, like 5 trap ideas. But I wanted to get your take on this card first.
Oh my god, I love this. I think that your pitch stack point is so valid. Mm-hmm. Because like the idea of public information and knowing where your opponent's threats are is such a huge deal. Like, and considering this is a legendary, you're only gonna see one. That's keeping him. That's I'm not assuming that Riptide has a graveyard. Like like if he has some card like that's like remembrance style where it's like
they can get
as an instant return, or like it's basically a 0 cost instant that is basically just like a bait and switch, maybe it'd be called, or something like that, where like you play it, or it might have to cost 1 or something, where you play it and then can replace this card, banish this card, and add a defense reaction to your hand from your discard. If that defense reaction leaves the graveyard, or banish it or something, I don't know, but like I could see him doing like some sort of like tricky, like, oh, you've already played this, well, guess what, bait and switch, and here it is again, kind of thing. Really excited.
Yeah.
See what kind of traps, especially because I've been learning how to block.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is all tied in. Sin Creed, what's up, my friend? Armor, how you doing? Yeah, collapsing trap is awesome, and I would not be surprised if it is the coolest trap.
Yeah.
In the set, but let's talk about some other traps we'd like to see. So I got to think back of what the other traps do that we already have. There's the one that will deal 2 damage unless you pay 1, right?
Yeah, and then your attacks cost 1 unless they do. Caleb, you're taking my joke for the fresh 5, so we're just gonna pretend Caleb's message in the chat doesn't exist, and then everyone's gonna laugh equally when I make a Yu-Gi-Oh joke. I lost my train of thought because
we were talking about the other traps. What do they do?
Oh yeah, I don't remember all of them. I think that one of them is it requires you to pay 1, attacks do 2 less. Yeah, I think that's the yellow. And then on hit effects don't trigger.
Oh, okay, yeah. So those are some effects that we know about. And what are some trap effects? Because this is obviously the thing that these traps do. When they block, do something. What are some effects that you'd like to see happen?
Yeah, so I really think that we could get this, like, you've activated my trap card trap reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's this idea that you play a reaction, right? It's basically like reprise, but for traps.
Okay.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, so Dory gets to play Iron Song response. Well, you've activated my trap card of if an attack reaction is played during this combat chain, this trap defends for +2, or their attack is reduced by 2, or something like that. That kind of thing would be really cool, and I think it plays really well into this idea of Assassin having ways to attack react a lot. And I think it plays really well into the Ninja has to attack react, like lunging press and razor reflex and that kind of thing. So I think that, yeah, Caleb's right on it. I think that my trap card reprise, or you've activated my trap card idea, would love to see that, because it really gives decks like a little bit of a gotcha. more
Mm.
than just, oh, I have a defense reaction. Well, I have a defense reaction.
What about this? Oh, so yeah, Caleb said in chat, what if played from Arsenal you do yada yada yada. Uh,
Yeah.
and I mean that's a great starting point because then it kind of goes on theme from what the traps already do. Now I would imagine that would be Riptide's hero text, right? Because then it makes the older traps playable in Riptide. Uh, if you do this, whatever. I would like to see a trap that says attacking hero pays 1, or at the end of the combat chain, this defense reaction goes back to your hand unless your opponent pays 1 or something like that.
Ooh, like an endless arrow.
Yeah, right. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think the attrition of, and it's better, I think, because it's not an attack, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not as oppressive, but it is like it gives you this like this rebuff of a like, large like if they're not paying for any of their if they have no resources, red line, you basically just have this ever-present trap that's really frustrating to deal with. And if you need to block out with your whole hand, having something that you could just tuck in your arsenal.
What about this trap? Well, okay, so the traps all, like the ones that we see, all have negative effects on your opponent.
Yeah.
So I was gonna think, it was like, well, what if you like when you defend with this trap and you, like if your opponent doesn't pay, you get to put the top card of your library or your deck into your arsenal. Uh, that would be kind of neat, but it doesn't really go on theme with like a negative effect against your opponent because that's what traps are, right? They're supposed to hurt your opponent. Um, I wonder if there's like a trap that says, maybe it would just almost essentially pop uh, an attack like Phantasm,
Oh,
like
yes.
pay 1, and if you don't, the attack goes straight to the graveyard.
Yeah, I think that that's a great idea because there's the problem with those like super defense reactive decks is honestly like if there was some sort of trap that worked on the weakness cards, that'd be a huge deal for getting rid of Aura.
Yeah.
Like if they're I don't know how willing they are to make like a majestic that's just sideboard exclusive card that focuses on the yeah, like a smoke bomb trap that like makes the illusion go like it obfuscates the illusion and makes it go away because like I'll tell you what if I've been playing defensively against Dromai and Prism on and Blitz and it playing a lot of defense reactions you lose to those permanent decks a lot. So I
Mm-hmm.
really think that a trap would need to have to get or have a good way to get rid of a aura on the battlefield or some sort of illusionist attack because otherwise Riptide's just going to be losing to Prism and losing to Romai. They don't have many attacks that block for 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, there could be one that I mean would be playable and everything, right? And good against illusionists, right? You when you defend with this trap, search your deck for an attack action card, add it to the combat chain blocking.
Hmm.
Go grab your popper or whatever. I don't know. That's probably a little bit too tough.
Yeah.
That doesn't really make sense because you've already passed the blocking phase and you've moved to reactions. But it'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, it would definitely be kind of neat. I think that something like Rain Razors is it would be really cool too, but the opposite side of things.
Yeah.
Like a Rain Razors that gives your +2 for the turn. Sorry, I got a bit of a cough here. Um, but yeah, I think that some way to passively buff your traps would be really good as well. Because undoubtedly you're going to be playing a lot of them. You got to think about how Reinhardt Riptide's going to attack. Do
Yeah.
arrows? Is it just passive damage? Are there going to be blood rot pot scraps?
Oh, for sure. There has to be, right?
Oh, exude confidence on defense. Missed that. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
because
kind of neat.
that'd be cool. Yeah, can't attack, react. That kind of thing is like it's like snag almost.
Yeah, yeah. To
Yeah.
answer Caleb's question about does Riptide come with a bow, there has been a bow spoiled. It's the Barb Castaway. Once per turn instant, you may put an arrow card from your hand face up into your arsenal. And then you also may turn a face down arrow in your arsenal face up. If you do, put an aim counter on it. Now, I think this is going to be the token bow for limited. We do not know if there's like majestic weapons. I'm hoping there's a majestic hook for the for Riptide. Now, yeah, the exude confidence thing would be kind of interesting. Now, I guess you could like, I don't know. But now here's the question. So I think Dalen Mack had posted something, and I don't know if he was trying to be cryptic or whatever. I'm gonna bring it up on my phone because I don't have it set up here. But he had tweeted, where are you, Dalen? I kind of like the idea of playing a fab deck with 30 traps, especially if they are supposedly coming into play after blocking. But perhaps I've said too much. I don't know what he's trying to say there, but it does make me think: what if, you know, so we saw Phoenix Flames with 5. What if we have some kind of token trap that stays in your graveyard and you can fish it out with Riptide?
Oh,
On
with
your
the little
opponent's
hook,
turn.
pull it out.
Yeah, well, yeah, it doesn't even need to like it could be like in the text the activated ability. That would be really neat. Like, I don't know though, because I guess you would have to have it name something or something that like just pay 3, bring back a trap from your hand instant would be kind of
Yeah, that would be
awesome.
really cool. Yeah, just buys ability on Riptide.
Yeah, but it would probably have to, and now it would have to say, if you play that trap this turn, or like when you play that trap, banish it because collapsing trap would just come back infinitely, and it'd be the best card in the game.
No, I like the idea of it being a token. I know that there's some crunching going around. Crunching is tokens are set, and I don't think that there's that many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not.
So like that would be an interesting way. Like, I really like the idea of that base, something like that. I think they could do that.
Yeah.
Like Ranger feels like that's something that works with their play style. You got like your Feign Death. Oh my gosh, Riptide's gonna love to play Feign Death.
Oh, what does Feign Death do again?
If you've taken damage, it's a instant.
Oh
It says
yes.
if your hero is taking damage. I saw the tweet go out with Brody. He was playing Kano in New Zealand.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he played the Aether, whatever the Blaze, whatever the specialization is for like 20 or whatever, and then it's just Feign Death. If you've taken damage this turn, the next time your hero would be take damage.
Oh yeah, that card's so goddamn good. Oh my god. Yeah, Feign Death's gonna be really sweet in this deck. There's a lot of Ranger M's. We are all gonna have to take another look at for Riptide, which is really cool. I think we're gonna see what Riptide does in like a day.
Yeah,
because
very soon.
Yeah, the artist is in Auckland, so.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I don't know any other like traps you'd like to see. I mean, I think there's probably infinite possibilities, right? But what would make sense? What would be like on point flavor wise?
Honestly, I think that I think the thing that's standing out to me that we're getting really excited about defensive, but we need to figure out how he's attacking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like if I could ask for a trap, I would want to be able to get a trap. When I play the trap, maybe it costs 1, and when you play it, you get to put an arrow from your graveyard, your discard pile, arsenal. I think that he needs some way, like he can play the frailty, the tome of frailty or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be really sweet to get an arrow back. And a ponder token. Love to see ponder. I think ponders would going to be awesome. Riptide.
Oh yeah.
But I think we need to see like a trap, like, and along with that fishing angle, angler angle, um, being able to get an attack back and be able to respond with an offensive strike is going to be crucial, because otherwise you're just a sitting duck waiting for your opponent to get through. Um, could do the traps do damage? That would be a great way to actually be offensive. Could you imagine if whenever it's like every trap is reckless, just like every trap is reckless swing unless they pay one.
Wait a second. Wait a second. What if this is crazy? This is crazy. Telling me I'm crazy, but I don't care. What if Riptide's hero text is the first time you play a trap, each turn. Yes, Andrew's onto it. Give a Blood Rot Pox token to your opponent, because that is, well, it's damage they can prevent if they think about it. I don't know. That seems like a fair way, because if everything was a reckless swing, like all Riptide has to do is get you to like below 10 life, and all of a sudden you're just done. So
I mean, yeah, well, no, yeah, maybe like the first trap, right? Deals one day, because like the new Viscerai. Yeah, basically every trap makes a trap chant.
Or trap chant. Trap.
Yeah, no, like it would be really cool to see him just not play any attacks. I think that would be really sweet. It could be what Dalen Mack. He has got some inside information. I don't know, whatever Tall Timmy spoiler card is, that's gotta be good.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, hey, Andrew's got a good point. Watch Oasis Recipe go up in price. I mean, that card is incredible anyway. But yeah, who the hell knows, man? I mean, I think, like, there's so much hype around Riptide because I don't know. It's like we've had all these OP aggro heroes and Oldham in the past, like, 2 years, that something that's like a dedicated defensive hero that isn't doing that isn't doing like weird like wizard stuff like Icelander or Oldham stuff, like crush effects and
So yeah, what I'm hearing is you really want that class to have more range.
Oh, anyway. Caleb says if Riptide can OTK, I'll be so happy. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean,
turn trap, baby.
Seeing collapsing trap does not make me feel like that.
No.
Is the way he'll play, but who the hell knows? I mean, like, if you look at Bolton's, Lumina obviously is one of his specializations, but I think via the Vanguard is also one. So one feels very combo centric, the other one does not, right? One's like, hey, let's go wide and spread some damage. So who the hell knows? You want to talk about your deck?
Yeah. So this weekend we're going to Al Central Games, Millersville, Pennsylvania. They're having a 1K, and I'm gonna hang out with the Steelblade Showtime bud, Brendan and Derek, and it's gonna be a great time. I'm gonna see Rose, I'm gonna see Jasper. We're gonna play a bunch of Flesh and Blood. But during the event, we wanted to talk about the deck that I was gonna play. Now this is a little bit of work in progress, and I still am making some final tweaks. Probably gonna print the list right before I hop on the train Saturday morning. But I switched this up to be a bit more low to the ground. And if you're a Runeblade player, you're going to see some cards that you're familiar with, but you're going to see fewer cards named Shrill of Skullform than you normally see. I have decided that I want to try and play a list with very few Shrill of Skullforms. I know that card is like kind of insane. Shrill of Skullform, really great if you have 2 resources. If you have 3 resources, you could play Mauve, Shrill, Swing Rosette. Problem is, Oldham and Lexi don't really let you do that. and I'm tired of not being able to do anything on my turn. So what I've devised is a bit more low to the ground deck, and this might be influenced by the fact that I've been playing the chain deck, which likes to play attacks that don't cost anything. Um, so this is my Al Central 1K deck that is very focused on playing one cost attacks or attacks that attack for 0 if you have rune chain. So you see here in the main deck, the idea is you don't want to be like super super aggressive where you never have any rune chance at the end of your turn, because we are playing the Tiara to be able to stop Kano on the combo turn, and we're playing cards like Spellblade Strike and Meet and Greet to be able to end our turn with a rune chance, so that way we're able to provide some extra damage on turn following. Because the best part about playing Viserai is that every time you play 2 cards in a turn, you basically just get an extra 1 damage, right? So what I've done here is I've taken the 2 costs, and I've brought them down a bunch. I brought in the hey Flake, how's it going?
Oh, it's Mr. Peepee.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I brought the 2 costs down a lot. We're playing Deathly Duet Blue, which is just a really good 2 cost attack. It's one of the only 2 costs besides Command and Conquer, which is another card. This is kind of a mix between a mid range and an aggro deck. Because not only does it play like a lot of 9 Mauve, Doctor 9 Mob, it's playing the Spellblade Strikes to be able to make a bunch of rune chance and like end those turns with. You're also playing Amplify the Arknight, which is a really, really great on playing Runeblood incantations, or you charge up your defense a bit more. You don't have to pay for the attacks. That is the key, I think, to beating Oldhim and Lexi sometimes, especially Lexi, because she can often have these turns where you're just blocking your whole hand. You know what I mean? And if you're left with a 1 card hand in Viserai, it's not often times you can deal damage. That's not great, because then you can't leak damage to be able to put Lexi in a position where they need to block later in the game. So I've got Amplify the Arknight here, and I've got 2 Amplifies in the sideboard. The sideboard, the main deck is very similar to a lot of the decks that I play. Normally, I like Drawn to the Dark Dimension. I love Sift. I love Rattlebones. I love Meet and Greet. So this is all pretty standard. But when the sideboard comes into play, that's when we really see it. So the sideboard is some Amplify the Arknights, extra poppers against Dromai. We got Command and Conquers, which are great against a lot of different heroes. Swimming Volitions. This is just an awesome card in damage. Yes, Burke, I'm playing Read the Runes. You got it. Yeah, you got me. I'm playing Read the Runes. It's a good card. I think it just neat. And right now, Lexi and Icelander and Oldhim are just so good that you need to have a way to passively value again. After playing Chain and realizing how good just playing a Read the Runes and passing is, I think playing a Read the Runes in a deck that has a tutor like Become the Arknight, I get it. I get it. Especially if there's turns where you're not trying to be right. So there are a lot of low to the ground lines here with Meet and Greet, Storming Gloomvale, Rosetta Thorn. But then there's also lines where you're just gonna have to play 1 attack, or you're just gonna have to throw Runeblood Incantation down and pass. So we got these 5 D reacts to be able to just be a bit more defensive. 6 Runeblood Incantation. That card is insane. I love that card. If you've ever played this card, you know that game goes long, Runeblood Incantation in the game. Runic Reclamation is very good into Briar, really good into a lot of decks that just are sitting on the battlefield. I love it into Bravo, where they pay for their what's it called? Seismic Surge, and then you just attack for 7, and then they either block it and then they lose the value from that surge, or it hits, they take damage, and they 2 more sigils. You got that 9th Blade to tuck that in the arsenal, or just fish it back with the Rattlebones. And everybody's favorite Arknight Shard, because what's better than playing Mordred Tide into an Arknight Shard. I can't think of anything. Making 4 rune chance off of pitching an Arknight Shard into something. Yeah, it's 4 rune chance off of 2 cards is really good.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 2-ofs. What's this blitz, bro? Come on, what's going on?
Yeah, so you know what the card? You've been playing a really good deck recently called Rhinar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're not used to it, but there's a card in there called Sand Sketch Plan.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You know how like sometimes you're allowed to like look through your deck and find a card, and sometimes you get to keep it because you got to discard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in this deck, you don't have to do that.
Oh, you just Arknight Shard, right?
Yeah, we just become the Arknight.
Or become the Arknight. Oh, there's so many Arknight cards.
Yeah, a lot of Arknight. A lot of knights going on here. You basically got a free night on hotels.com with this. But that was a joke for you. But yeah, so basically, this card, the Become the Arknight, lets you find the targets that. So rather than playing 3 copies of cards that are good, we can play 2 copies of a lot of different types of cards to be able to tutor up for a specific situation. So this is a more toolbox style. It's like sometimes you're gonna need to deal 6 damage without paying any reason, right?
Yeah.
And Become the Arknight into Amplify is great, but you don't need to see 3 Amplify the Arknights. You don't want to only have 1, because what if it's in your graveyard? So 2 lets you, be able to search something. Maybe you don't have enough. But yeah, I like to play a lot of 2-ofs because we have, I think, the best tutor in the game. Maybe Showtime is a little bit better. Singing Steelblade might be better too. But
I think so.
Become the Arknight is very good because it basically turns those shitty Runeblade hands to something passable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this looks like a lot of Runeblade stuff going on. Dude, exactly. I mean, the deck's good. I mean, this is a deck that I always hate to see as a brute player. It's not a good matchup. It really is not. But I'll be at the tournament as well. I don't know what I'm playing. I think what's your worst matchup?
Want to play Oldham?
No, I don't want to play Oldham. I have value within myself. Thank you very much. Now. And,
since when?
No, you really don't. Actually, and it's funny that Flake said Dr. PP is we were talking about people who get their PhD and how important it was earlier in the show. As a callback that Flake didn't know, unless he did know.
Servicing members.
Servicing members. Dr. PP, I'm sorry, Flake. I forgot that you got your PhD in PP, which stands for pretty...
Poggies.
Pretty poggies. All right. Well, this was a good show, I think.
I don't know. What do the people think?
What do the people think? Go home.
Go home. It's late.
Yeah, this is fun. Do you want to talk about your meal of the week before we say our goodbyes here?
Yeah. So I did kind of shout out a little bit about a meal. Friday. Hung out with Dr. Unks. But I tonight took a walk. I had a happy hour by myself. I just I took a brain break. I was feeling like I needed to so I took a walk down to a bar down the street, got myself some rum and DC,
Okay.
Some empanadas, had a brownie, I just I kind of just sat there and existed, but outside of being home, playing video games, just being in the world. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time by myself. I tend to spend a lot of time outside with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really, really happy to just go out and kind of reset and just go to a happy hour. There was a lady sitting next to me, drinking some Prosecco and reading a book, that kind of I don't know. There's a little bit of a mindful moment. I was really to shout that out. Take a mindful moment if you're feeling like you're in a...
I get it. I mean, hey, listen, you don't need to convince me that having a drink by yourself is I think it is the best. It is my favorite. I will say it's my favorite thing to do. I love going to a bar by myself, sitting down, having a nice relaxing drink where I don't feel like I'm a very social person anyway, and I love to talk. But there's something about just kind of sitting there, taking a drag on that beer, or pull on that beer or whatever you're drinking, shifting around the ice in your glass, all that fun stuff. And then just sitting there, being in the moment, maybe checking your phone or whatever, checking out Twitter, see what the discourse is. I'm so much better than them because I'm drinking by myself. No, I'm kidding. But I get it. It's very nice. Now, my meal of the week, this is going to be interesting because it was a really good meal. But there's something that bugged me the whole time. Now, this is I feel like this is my George Costanza coming out, right? Okay. This is, so I take Lady Fresh out to dinner over the weekend. We go to this nice place called the Clinton House. It is, it's just kind of American fare, but it's like a little elevated, whatever. I had gotten a lobster BLT that was very good. I posted pictures in the Buzz Discord. We got tiramisu for dessert, and then we got these awesome portobello fries. It's just like slices of portobello mushroom that are fried. Dip them in this really good sauce. Super good. But I also was hungry, so I looked at the menu. They had a baguette and butter on the menu. It was like $4 or whatever, which normally at other restaurants is free, but it was on the menu. So when we get there, we had a reservation for 7:30. We get there at 7:30. We sit down, and we don't get seen by the server for like 15 minutes, which I don't care.
Somebody's grumbling. What are you gonna do?
I know. Well, I like whatever. It's people are understaffed. I get it, and 15 minutes, whatever. I don't mind. Our server comes over and she goes, "Sorry, what would you like?" And we kind of order. I'm like, "Oh, can we also get the baguette with butter?" He's like, "Oh, we sold out of baguettes, but if I had gotten here 2 minutes earlier, you would have been able to get one." So, I mean, this is I am a very understanding person, but that was just I didn't say anything, but I was just stewing the whole dinner because you took 15 minutes to come to our table and then had the nerve to say, if you had come earlier, we would have been able to get the thing that I wanted. I was like, are you kidding me? Why would you admit that? Just say, "Oh, we're sold out." I would have been like, "Oh, that's all right. I'll get it next time." But no, you had to rub it in my face. That was like, "Oh, you idiot. If I was better at my job, you'd be having this baguette." So I don't know. I feel like I couldn't tell if I was crazy for being upset about it. Now,
no.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet she felt guilty. Right? She felt guilty and was like, "Oh man, made you wait so long. Here's the reason." And then, sometimes don't share.
And full disclosure, I still tip 20%.
Always.
Yeah. I don't care that much, but it was one of those things where it was like, what world am I living in? This is, with someone more emotional than me, to someone who's
somehow
well that's the thing, right? Then I attribute my ability to take that in stride with my playing Levia, right? I am immune to tilt, to a certain extent. So I got tilted, but not too much, because it was like, oh, she rolled double ones, and what can you do? But it is. I felt like this is we live in a society, But
I got a question for you.
Sure.
How mad would you have been if she just brought butter?
Oh my god! And charged the $4? Well, no, I mean, I don't think that's a realistic thing. I think it would be more realistic for her to say, "I could bring the butter though." Which I would have been like, yeah, I'll just have the Caesar salad. But anyway, that was it's just something that's been I've been telling everybody. I told my mom this morning. I was like, Mom, am I crazy? And she said yes, but not because of this. But anyway, this was a blast.
Yeah, man.
Gary, please plug everything you need to plug.
Yeah, so my name's Gary. I go by Mr. Viz on the Mr. spelled out VIZ. I tend to spend a lot of time on Twitter and in the Buds Discord. If you want to talk about anything Arknight related, or if you want to talk about like blocking, I'm trying to get more block conversation going on, not acting, but that's a theater joke for all those high school theater dropouts. But yeah, I hang out on Twitter at Mr. Viz, and we're gonna be at the Al Central 1K this weekend. Just want to shout out again to Steelblade Showtime Buds. They're awesome. Can't wait to hang out with them. I specifically made a later train so I could have dinner with them. So if you're ever going to a tournament and you want to go spend some time with Buds, make that time to go to dinner. Make that time to hang out. We talk about our meal of the week, but sometimes the best part about I want to plug hanging out with your friends at the end of this.
What a plug. What a concept too. No. It is a great thing to say, because I will be also at that Al Central game 1K, as long as my car works, and I think it does. It should be a lot of fun. Al Central, I do want to shout out Al Central in general, because it's a wonderful store run by some great people. Berto, if you see him on Twitter, if you see him in the Buds Discord, just an amazing, it's just he's an amazing person. They run a great store, and it is a very welcoming place to be, which is important, right? In this game and in general. So I'll be there as well. We'll see if I can make dinner. I hope I can.
You're moving, so you got a lot.
Yeah, I'm moving soon. The studio is going to be somewhere else. So, it's a lot. But I also want to shout out Twitter at FreshBudsPod, as always, which you can see right below here. There it is. And check out Fresh and Buds tomorrow. Kale from Dead Summer Art talking all about the pits. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got to edit it tonight. What else? The Patreon. Check out the Patreon. It's in the show notes. It's talked about at the top of the show. And
the packs and the show wrap up.
Yeah.
Post-show.
We do a post-show wrap up and open some packs. Whatever we didn't open, we got 2 packs tonight, so we're gonna do that as soon as we're done here. And then what else? Fresh and Buds. Like, comment, subscribe to YouTube. Trying to get 500 subs. They're gonna do the Leviathan cosplay and the Rabbit cosplay. And I wanted to talk about this at the top of the show, but I forgot. But we'll keep talking about it, because we're still a little ways away from 500 subscribers. But I want to give away a Buds beanie.
Oh,
I don't know if I have one. I thought I had one over here. But
yeah, you can have this one.
Was it the gray one? Yeah. I have extra black ones actually behind me, but let me see.
There.
But yeah, no, we got one of these. I'll give it away at 500 subscribers. I'll announce it on Twitter and stuff too, and start talking about it on the other podcasts. So you can kind of get it there, and we'll figure out a way to give it away. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I just it's one of those things I should be a better content creator, but I just like having fun too much. Something wrong with me.
Dude, your life is wild right now.
Yeah, I'm wild.
There's always time for it. All can be content.
I actually like to call it Tom Tent, because my name's Tommy. But anyway.
Not gonna laugh at
that. Was stupid. Don't laugh.
Yeah.
He's holding in right now. I know he is.
Okay. The follow-up always gets me. That's my weakness.
Yeah, the double down.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tommy is a Wild fan. No, I'm not a Wild fan. I just like the hat, Caleb. I'm a Flyers fan, but I can't find a good Flyers hat. Yeah, sorry, I say it like a freaking jabroni. Anyway, that's it. This is the end of the show. Love you all. Be good to each other. And
it's over.
And Bellow.
Bellow.